Hey everyone, welcome back to Dimension X Digital, and I'm finally doing a video showing off my quarantine build project here. I finally finished it, minus one minor set of details that I'll get into, but it is done. And so yeah, this is the Master Grade Psycho Zaku Ver Ka, and this is my quarantine COVID-19 edition. Yeah, so this is a kit that I had been wanting to do for a very long time. I finally found one, I think back in November it was, and I just was waiting to do it until I finally kind of had, um, like a real kind of good bit of inspiration as to like what I wanted to do with it. Because it's a really cool kit, and I really wanted to kind of go for it. I didn't want to do the standard paint job on it, and all that stuff. So I was just kind of waiting for inspiration to strike, and so when the whole shelter in place orders and everything came around, I finally said, okay, well, I guess I have no excuse but not to make this thing now because it's going to take some time, and now I got time. So yeah, so of course the whole COVID-19 thing, quarantine, biohazard, everything. So yeah, that's inspiration finally hit, and so this was the end result here. And I'm not gonna lie, I was not looking forward to working with this much yellow. Yellow is not an easy color to work with, but I think it came out pretty okay. I'm very happy with it. I had to do a lot of stuff I'd never done before. If you know, would I do anything different? Maybe. I did learn a couple things. I did have a couple mistakes here and there that weren't too major, so they kind of just, I doubt that anyone else would even notice them if I didn't point them out. But yeah, here it is. So, anyways, a lot of this stuff here was custom work. So like this decal here, the one here, all of these, like the hazardous material, the COVID, no COVID or no germ symbol, all the decals here on the side are the major ones, like more the hazard materials. That stuff I had to print out on my own. I had never done that before, but I found some water decal paper on Amazon, and it worked. It worked really well. So I'm really, really happy with the result. I think the pre-shading came out pretty good on it. I'd like to take credit for some of this orange highlighting here, but honestly, that was kind of a weird reaction that the paint had with the one of the top coats I used. I did mix some orange into my yellow just to kind of warm up the color a little bit when I was doing my, because there's about two, some places have two, some places have three shades of yellow on here. I wasn't planning on this orange to pop as much as it does, but I mean, it had set and cured for a good while, but then when I hit it with my semi-gloss coat before I did the decals, that orange just kind of came right out, and I'm not really sure why. That's never happened to me before. I'm using the same brand of top coat I always have, and I don't know, it just happened. But it doesn't look bad. It actually gives it kind of a nice little bit of dimension in the color, so I'm not too worried about it. I did have a mishap here. You can kind of see this arm right here. Let's see if I can focus it in a little bit. The colors are a little bit weirder than this side over here, and that was another one of those things when you're in the middle of a build and there are so many pieces in this kit. I'm not gonna lie, this kit is it's an absolute beast and has countless pieces. And at one point, I the process of doing the yellow, which I found works really well for yellow, is I did my black primer to get my pre-shading out of the way, basically, like my darker sections of pre-shading. So on top of the black, then I did highlights with a darkish rust color, which kind of dulls down the black and lets the yellow sit on top of that rather than sit on top of the black. Because some parts you can see, like here, if it focuses, has a little bit of a greenish tint to it, and I don't mind that in certain parts, and I don't mind it coming through here and there. But it's not something I want to be dominant on the kit, or like the main kind of way the paint works. But if you put down that rust color, and I hear a lot of people use pink as well. I've never tried that, but I'm sure it works well. I might try it in the future. It just did. What is it? It worked really well with that rust color, but on this arm, for some reason, I just was kind of rushing through things, or I just totally forgot that step. I totally forgot to put my rust color down, and so the color is a little bit. I had to go a little bit darker on it. It doesn't look bad, and actually, that kind of weird reaction that the orange had with that top coat, kind of helped it a bit, I guess. But it's something that, since I'm the one that did it, I notice it. I don't know if anyone else would, but I thought I'd just mention it as kind of one of those things that happens when you do a kit, and whatever can go wrong will go wrong, kind of thing. Um, but yeah, no, I really enjoyed this kit. It pretty much lived up to my expectations. The color separation and the piece separation are ridiculous. Like um, it's real. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, it is. I'm gonna say, if you're used to painting, it is easy to paint, just because it's, if something is going to be one color and another piece is not going to be that color, you pretty much have all the control in the world. Like the backpack especially, there are so many pieces on this backpack, and you can really pick where you want your colors to go and how you want them to go, without having to tape off a lot of stuff. I think I only had to mask a couple pieces, some of the tops of the bazooka pieces there, which kind of has a little bit of bleed over, but that's it, might happen. Like, um, I don't know how many hours I spent painting this, honestly, and then the decal work. There are so many decals. Some eagle-eyed people might spot a few Neon Genesis Evangelion uh, little tributes here. Some of them are easier to spot than others, such as this one, that one. But and then I didn't want to go too crazy, because I mean, at the end of the day, this is a Gundam kit. Even though I did go with a kind of far out theme, I didn't want it to be too too different. You know what I mean? Um, oh, another thing, you probably can't even tell, but I will point out, just because I do think that every time you make a mistake, it's either something you roll with, or you learn from, so you don't do it again, or you say, hey, that actually worked, and then you do it again because it got the result you wanted. But right here, you can kind of see that rough kind of like area right here, like where my decals are, and I try to hide them with the decals. But sometimes you thin your paint a little too much, or you get a clog in your line, and all of a sudden a little more paint comes out than you want to, and yellow is not a forgiving color. So there's like a little bit of a flaw right there. And again, I think that's something that you just roll with. It's not something to lose your mind over. And every kit, no matter how good it looks, like sometimes you see some really pro made stuff that you just think is flawless. If you actually see it close up and in person, you can find imperfections on almost any of them. So I always try to tell people, don't get too hard on yourself if there's a flaw or two, or if something is not perfect. It's never gonna be perfect. And I mean, there's some things like, I think there's I think on here, I think it's on, you can't see it with the camera. You can see it somewhat in person, but on the mouthpiece right here, there's actually like a pretty visible fingerprint, which I find kind of charming in a way. If I'm going to leave a fingerprint that isn't just distractingly bad, I don't mind leaving it. It shows that you know your your hands were on this thing. You made this thing yourself, so that's something I don't mind too much. But I am very happy with it. The only thing left that I'm going to make myself do that I didn't do, just because I was ready for I'm not going to lie. By the time I was done with this, I was ready for it to be done. As much as I enjoyed the kit, it was it was one of those kits you just felt would never end. Especially when you start getting to, like, I don't know, like I said, I mean, I don't think there's a piece on here that isn't painted, including the what do you call it? Like the frame, the inner frame is completely painted in here. So if you popped off my armor pieces, you would find like an actual painted frame under here. Even the pilot that is inside his chest here is 100% completely painted and detailed. Even though I will probably never open that up again, just because it will be a nightmare. Two, when you paint a kit fully like this, even after you put your top coats on and protect it, chances are the paint's not gonna like being moved around or scuffed around too much. So, but just because I know it's in there, I have to paint it. I almost just put it in there unpainted. I said, well, no, because if I ever did one of these days try to open it up, I want to be able to show that that figure is painted. But the one thing I am going to do is right here on this yellow on his main gun. I didn't do any scuff marks, and to me it's distractingly clean. Like, you know how here's a scuff on his arm right here, some on the edges of his skirt, on the tops of the spikes and the edges there. So I need to, on that yellow there, I think it looks too clean. I'm going to add a couple more when I finish up the project I'm working on currently, just so I just to satisfy myself, really. But I am really happy with it. I'm really glad with how I'm really glad I chose this kind of theme. Here's some of the more details on my on the weapons here. um, I don't really go obviously for canon, like details a lot of the time, especially on this. I mean, like, there's so many weird decals and stuff that don't belong on it, but um, I didn't want to go too crazy with it. I tried not to make it look too busy. I didn't go super heavy on the weathering. I opted for just some of these. I figured, as I was doing, I was looking around, going, okay, well, where are some areas that might hit an edge somewhere or get a little bit more wear on it? Those are the areas that I did wear on it. It's not like the RX 782 that I did recently, where I just went kind of crazy with the wear and tear. But that was the look I was going for with that one. This one, I didn't want it to be 100% clean. But I mean, look at this thing. There's so much crap going on this model that just too much on it, I think, would be distracting. I wanted the eyes to go towards the things that I want them to look at. Like, I want the theme to be clear. I want the work to show, but I didn't want it to be too overdone. And I think I accomplished that. I kept the backpack clean because I figure the backpack can be detached. It's not going to see like crazy combat or whatever. So I didn't do a bunch of wear on the backpack. The backpack I wanted clean, because my logic is, well, if you had to do anything crazy, you just detach it or whatever. But and same with the weapons on it. I didn't go nuts on the weapons. I did some color separation. I did do, some little bit of detailing there, but I didn't want to go too crazy because there's already, like I said, there's just so much going on this kit. But I'm really happy with it. I've had really good response from it, from the community, and people seem to enjoy it. Everyone seems, their favorite part seems to be the blue gloves on his hands, which I'm not gonna lie, that is my that's kind of my favorite part of it too. So, anyways, this guy is done, minus those little scuffs I'm going to add to his bazooka there. But I'm really proud of this kit, guys, and thanks for taking the time to look at it. And what's next on the agenda as far as model kits go? After this guy, I'm taking a bit of a Gundam hiatus for a couple kits, just so I can have some breathing room and just learn a couple new techniques and practice some other ones that I want to do. So, like, right now I'm doing I got a Moshin and Krieger kit. This is the current kit I'm working on. It's the what is it, the Ammonite. So right now I've done like the main what do you call it, like the main paint, like the camo is done, like the base paints are done. I started doing the internal cockpit. It's still rough. I haven't done any washes. I haven't done cleanup. I still haven't finished the top of this one. The front's fairly done, but the internal is not. But this will be. I've been really loving the Moshin and Krieger stuff. This is going to be something that I'm definitely going to focus on a bit more as I go on and really move forward with this hobby and get into it. But yeah, this is the next one up, so I'll probably do a video or two on this when it's done. But right now it's still kind of work in progress, but it's coming along. I'm happy with it. The real fun of these is when you do the weathering, when you get to the weathering step, which I'm almost there, but I'm finishing up the internal cockpit, and then I got to seal it, and then we can go nuts. This still needs work. This needs work. So everything's really clean right now, but it will not be by the time I'm done with it. So that about does it, guys. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed watching the video on this kit as much as I enjoyed making it. This is definitely probably my favorite kit that I've done. I'm extremely proud of it. In case you're wondering, Tamiya, Vallejo Air, and Mission models are the kind of paints I used on it. I would have set out the colors, but I just totally forgot. So yeah, I mean, those are the three brands I used. It's mostly done airbrushed. Iwata Revolution airbrush. Couple hand details here and there, but like the scuffs are done by hand. But everything else was all airbrushed, and I'm really happy with it. So thanks again, guys. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It'd be awesome. I'd love to grow the channel a little bit more. I mean, I know I haven't been uploading much lately, but I'd like to change that in the future. So if you want to give me a subscribe or two, that'd be awesome. So thanks, guys. Look forward to shooting another video as soon as I get more work done on this, and I'll talk to you guys later.